Happy Friday, ladies and gents. Happy Friday. I do have to reroute the audio like I always should. Give me one moment. Alright. You'll hear me loud and close for some reason. I don't know. I'll figure that out after we pick. Morning from Australia. Glad to have you here, brother. I've gotten a lot of Saquon bags, so I'm going to do an odd move here and take CD over him. Alright, let's get this music back up and running. Run it through the AirPod, brother. There we go. Now it won't double up. Alright, starting with CD. Is OBS still running well? What the hell's going on here? My AirPods do not want to cooperate today. We'll get it going at some point, though. This is the bewilderment of a man who does not know Wagwan. I have no idea. Alright. We're going to play it regularly for now, so that hopefully it comes back at some point. I was saying, going CD, we immediately know that we're at some point likely going to try and take some sort of Washington just to stack up off that game. This is a BBM, not a sprint, like I would prefer. So stacking up on 17 especially is going to be the main target here. I have no idea what's going on with YouTube music. Yeah, it's not even running through the screen capture. Fuck it. No music today. You'll get to hear my beautiful voice. On and on. Alright. Yeah, hit me with it, Johnny. What are the trades? Let's queue up Terry so we don't forget about him. And honestly, let me immediately take him off the queue just so I don't do that to myself. This is the one thing I hate going from BBM to sprint. My sprint mind is immediately like, all right, then you take AJ Brown and just build a Washington stack. But that's not necessarily the premium route here. I mean, I like Ladd, and Dallas does play them 16. And we can hopefully work in some of the Houston receivers later. So, more than happy with that pick there. And then it's likely McLaurin at the next one. Mason Taylor for Debo. That's a little tough for me. Personally, I mean, unless you're in a full rebuild, I'd rather have Debo. I think rookie tight ends are kind of very hard to predict. And given that they just signed Fields, like, this is not going to be a pass-happy offense. If they are, that's a very slim chance. So unless you're in a full rebuild, I'd probably prefer Debo or maybe look for another asset. Like, the most likely outcome is even if Mason Taylor is good, like, he's not going to boon in his rookie season. And if he's someone that you do really want, you could probably get him next year for fairly the same price or cheaper. I am considering getting some Rashee Rice, but we're going to have to wait a little bit more for that. Other one is Amon-Ra, a 26 second and a 26 third for Addison and 2 26 firsts. All right, I'm gonna need some time to mull that one over. Give me a couple minutes to think this one through. Luckily, we got some time before our next pick. Amon-Ra second and third for Addison and 2 26 firsts. You have Addison. Okay. How many people are in the league? 10, 12. What are we looking at? And is it full PPR? We're going to see the length of the delay here. Ten-man league, full PPR, super flex. All right. Then my initial leaning is to take Amon-Ra, but let me fully process it some more after this back to back. My initial leaning is probably to go for Amon-Ra because in a 10-man, at least in the 10-man that I'm in, like trading up for the more premium asset is usually the better decision given like how easy it is to kind of make up the rest of your team in terms of depth. Puka, Odunze, Pickens, Reed, Downs, Olave, wide receiver. Damn, you got some receivers, brother. Do we go full LA here? No, I think I gotta go Pickens. And we'll work off of a Dallas double. I'm marrying to the next pick is more than fine. But yeah, damn, you got some fucking receivers. I mean, it that feels like even more reason to just trade up to the bigger asset. Like, how often is... I'm assuming you're running... All right, this is going to be another important question here. 3 wide receiver, is there a flex and then a super flex, 2 flexes and then a super flex? How many receivers are you usually going to start in a week? How does Buffalo line up with us? Not too amazing. It's probably just Devonta Smith if he's there. If not, I mean, I'd take James Cook just for the value. Yeah, just one of them two. More likely Devonta, though. And then we'll make up the receivers. I mean, the running backs later. All right, yeah, let's go Devonta. All right, I'm rocking with this start. A double in Dallas. Playing off multiple games here. We got Washington, Philly, 16. Washington, Dallas, 17. And Washington, LA, 16. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. But yeah, my initial leaning, Johnny, is to go for Amon-Ra. Obviously, see if you can negotiate it down anymore. You always gotta be trying to wheel and deal. 2 QB, Caleb and Dak. 2 running backs, Hampton and Henderson. 2 wide receiver, 1 tight end, premium Travis Kelce, and 3 flex spots. Hey, no, I want the info, brother. I want to give you the best of my knowledge to the best of my ability. All right. So, and you have Puka, Odunze, Pickens, Reed, Downs, Olave. I mean, I'm always a sucker for trading up for a premium asset. I mean, the big concern would be like, how much does the offense change without Ben Johnson? Obviously, Amon-Ra was in a favored role with Ben Johnson, but like Amon-Ra is a good receiver. He's not going to disappear from this offense without Ben Johnson. So I personally am not putting like too much stock into that. While I do like Addison as a player, the pretty major potential knock you could have against him is he's like had a fair number of TDs in his first 2 seasons. I had Addison in I think 2 of my 3 dynasty leagues, and I didn't end up selling him anywhere, but I was considering selling him after his rookie season, just because of like at some point he's probably going to see some regression in the TD department. You're also trading out of him in a year where he's going to be having a suspension. I'm assuming with that roster you are going to like push in with these young running backs to try and contend. So I'd say go for Amon-Ra, but at the end of the day, like, follow your heart, brother. But I think, like, especially with the depth you have at wide receiver and two young running backs, in a 10-man league, it's fairly easier, not easy necessarily, but easier to find, like, some depth pieces to make up the rest of your roster outside of, like, the starting core of the team. So I would trade up, get the premium asset. In my opinion, if you could work him down from, like, I don't know, something like potentially getting rid of like the second or third on his side, just to, one sec here. Chicago play into anything? We'd probably go Monty, just because I don't think his role is gonna change too much. Yeah, I don't think Chicago is where I want to go with this lineup. So we'll go Monty. If Swift or Pacheco are there in 6 picks, I'll probably take one of them. If not, I mean, I guess we could play Laporta and then work into like Jordan Mason later or something. What the hell was I saying? I don't even remember. I don't know. I was saying if you could work down from like the second or third just to like keep one of those 26 firsts, I'm a first round pick slut. So something like that, if you could work them down from that angle, I think would be really good. But otherwise, I think it's a fine deal. It's not fantastic per se. You could try and tweak it a little bit more for your benefit. But yeah, that's where I sit on it. All right. Jordan Mason and Aaron Jones are two decently high priority picks here. I mean, we're not going to... Yeah, Hawk's already gone. Who's taking Hawk that early? Interesting. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's like... Yeah. That's the entirety of it. I'm not that hard-pressed to take, like, Jalen Naylor that late. But now we do set up fairly well for that Minnesota game if we get one of their running backs. Kelsey confuses me, to be completely honest. Like, I don't know what to make of him, because in the playoffs he looks amazing, but during the regular season, it's like, what are you gonna get any given week? I do think this year I'd rather keep Kelsey, Evan Ingram, and Jake Ferguson in free agency. I mean, then it depends like what you're gonna. If you could trade Kelsey for like a pick or something, like a decent pick, I'd be fine with that. And then you could pick up either one of those tight ends. I think they're both fine fill-ins, especially in tight end premium. But like, I don't think I'd drop Kelsey for either one of them. And I do think week to week, Kelsey's more stable than likely. Even though Kelsey's a fucking enigma most of the time. Both Minnesota running backs gone does tiff it up a little bit. How bold am I? Not too bold, to be quite honest. I also think hopefully the fear strikes into people's hearts here. No, I'm a pussy. I thought last second Higgins to play into Ladd would be the better next pick, and I'm just fully in on, like, if I'm drafting a BBM, give me the ceilings of Judkins not getting suspended until next season. Like, that's the premium move there. Thinking of dropping Likely for Ingram. It's honestly a tough question. In Dynasty, I think. I mean, what is. There were the rumors that I didn't believe that, like, Andrews might get, like, traded or something. Let me see what Andrews' contract looks like. Andrews is on the last year of his deal. I mean, I'm a roll the dice kind of guy. I think considering you have Kelsey, there's a higher chance next season that, like, Likely is going to be. The likely outcome in my eyes is that Isaiah Likely has a higher ceiling next season than Evan Ingram does, even though this season Ingram likely provides a higher floor than Likely week to week. But yeah, I'd keep Likely over Ingram. If you can trade Kelsey for a decent pick, happy to pick up either of those tight ends in free agency. Otherwise, I think don't overthink it too much. Keep them both. Don't rock the boat too much. I mean, you do have Dak, so, like, if you were to drop Likely, I think I'd go Ferguson over Dak, just to because you already, like, play into Dak. You're gonna need Dak to be playing well to get anywhere. You know, like, if Dak gets hurt or Dak has a shitty season, you're already kind of behind the eight ball. Like, pushing that far on stacks and ceiling in, like, a 10-man dynasty league isn't, like, as important as it is in something like BBM, but it's still, like, a slight consideration. 117. Let's hope Dak gets there. If not, we'll just have to deal with Goff. Could take McCarthy just naked to play into Detroit. It's not the worst idea I've ever had. I mean, yeah, I think we line up we take two quarterbacks here. Because any of these four quarterbacks decently play into what we want to do. Dak, the foremost of them. Yeah, I like Dak a fair bit this year. God damn it, right before me. That is tough. That is fucking tough. All right. It is what it is. We'll take Goff first. Yeah. I mean, especially with Pickens and Lamb, like, I mean, bounce back year for Dak, I'm all in on it. I hate this motherfucker for taking him from me. But, dude, what are you doing? What is this nonsense? You didn't even need Dak. Nor are you really even playing into any of Dak's matchups. I don't get it. Tough for me, though. Herbert would be fine. We would have to take some deeper Houston stuff to fully make sense of that. Trey Harris is signed, so we could take him as well. He's one of our later receivers. It does suck not getting Dak in this lineup, but we can make life work. All right. So now it's basically just queue up all these fucking Houston jamokes. I mean, I could take Naylor really late, but I don't really want to. Yeah. Have a great night. Appreciate you for stopping in, brother. $141 and $148. What's the best play here? Would have been Ferguson if we had Dak, but now I'm not as hard pressed for it. Where does Trey Harris go? Is he already off the board? I'm a jack off. He's already off the board. All right. Well, QJ, be my baby. You could be one of the picks. Eckler's a fine depth piece at running back. QJ gone. This is all very strange. Fair number of interesting picks I'm seeing on this board. I mean, I'm a Ray Davis stan. I could get behind that. I don't think Hollywood plays in any matchups for us. Same thing with Kincaid and Goddard. Ray Davis, I think, has more standalone value. Kincaid, to me, is a little bit scarier of a pick, especially if you're not playing into Allen. Rashad White, I don't see it with this lineup. Maybe we do just have to take Ferguson. That's tough, though. Yeah, I'm just going to take Eckler. Let's get a player I know I want. Fair bit of a reach, but we need to stack 17. Even without Dak, it's one of our prime matchups. I guess I could just go Ferguson and close the book at tight end. It's not the worst decision, but it would have felt so beautiful if we had gotten Dak. Yeah, I'm fine with Ferguson here. I don't think anything else plays abundantly well. But now I'm going to have to figure it out. Probably just Jadon Blue. Hope he beats ADP. Yeah. I'm cool with that. Jalen Knoll, likely at the next pick. Probably take him at 172. Fair bit of a reach, but we need some Houston exposure. Same thing with... Probably don't need Chubb, but we might just have to take Chubb. How much was his deal for? $2.5 million. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I'm not going to reach on Chubb like I would on Knoll, but we'll see what happens. Fine with taking Schultz later as our other tight end. What's the other one? 172? 165, 172. All right. At 165, what's the play? Honestly, the Steelers do line up fairly well playing both Detroit and Cleveland. We aren't overly abundant on Cleveland. We're on a high-risk roll, and Judkins not getting suspended until next year. And to be honest, I have no idea what Jonu's going to be. I'm much more happy to take Freiermuth significantly later than taking Jonu there. In reality, they'll probably end up being fairly equivalent on the end of the season, and I don't really think you need to, haunt yourself trying to figure out the best move there. I mean, if you're going to let me take Pitts 10 spots after ADP, I'll do it. Fine by me. I still genuinely have no idea what cut the music out, but who knows? Talk about a tight end room, baby. Admittedly, Pitts doesn't play that well into any of our matchups, but he's got ceiling, and especially if you can take him as your second tight end and then just close the book. Like, fuck yeah. Likely don't need either of those two tight ends that I just unqueued. I don't think we need to take Roshan Johnson or Braylon Allen here. It seems a bit unnecessary to me. Someone like Wandell could be a good depth wide receiver piece since he plays Washington and Minnesota. We never really did get into Minnesota, though. So hand up. The Minnesota game doesn't matter too much to us. I want to reach on Chubb just to make sure we get some shit. I can't believe Noel just went. That hurts my body and my soul. No, I'm not going to reach on Chubb. 5 wide receivers. Do any make abundantly any sense here? I'm fine with just autoing Waddle. Yeah. I'm cool with that. Let's go with Waddle. McMillan's tempting here, but I'm just going to go Waddle. I think we have a fair amount of ceiling with our other picks to the point that, like, Waddle can just be the bye week fill-in that we need. And he does represent, like, a decently high ceiling if Dart comes in for the fantasy playoffs and starts lighting shit up. I expect Wandell is going to get peppered with a decent bit of targets. I feel like he's a fair bit underappreciated for kind of the volume he gets, just because the offense has been ass. But he's, to me, essentially just Sterling Shepard. Small Sterling Shepard. He gets an unexpected amount of volume. Pretty high value stuff. Wandell's certainly better in DK than on Underdog, since Underdog's half-point PPR, which by all means could have incentivized McMillan over him. But again, McMillan not too keen on any of the matchups. It's not like Wandell is exceptionally better, though, to be fair. And let's hope Nick Chubb is here at the next pick so we can get a little Houston that we've been missing out on. Calvin Austin, I think, is an okay ceiling high pick. Scrolling through for anything else that could be a solid move for us. Honestly, Rodgers could be a fine just third QB, especially since, like, there's a world where both of these quarterbacks we have are solid, consistent, but, like, maybe don't light up every week. Like, throwing in a third quarterback just fairly raises your week-to-week ceiling. And it's a quarterback that does play into some of the other stuff that we have 16 and 17 already lined up. Even more so if we can take Calvin Austin at the next pick. I really don't think this is like a proper move taking Freiermuth, but considering you could do it at your last pick, could be that weird angle that gives you a little bit more of something. And honestly, I'm fine. Bold move, Cotton, admittedly, but we might just call it at 5 running backs. And then we go Calvin Austin into Freiermuth. Screw Jalen Naylor. I would prefer it. We'll have 7 after Austin. He's just like a minor bring back. Admittedly, though, a pretty good minor bring back in a number of games that we have. So I'm gonna cop out. I'm gonna pussy out on that. If Calvin Austin goes, I'll likely take Naylor early just to get him, and then we could take Freiermuth if we really want. But yeah, more likely than not, I'll go Austin Naylor. I'm pretty content with that. What is our final pick just for a check? 213. Serendipity. Hopefully Naylor's there. Very strange 3-5, likely 8-2. But I think we have a fair number of value running backs that can hopefully push us through. Don't get me wrong, it's a risky strategy going fairly, I wouldn't say light, but like these are all running backs that like have their fair share of questions. So admittedly, I know that, but given what it allows the rest of our roster to do ceiling wise, I'm pretty happy to do it. Can do a quick update on the 8-hour draft. Doesn't look like we're going to get on the clock here, but been stacking well into San Francisco, Cincinnati, have a Denver KC mini, took Lawrence just to fix up our QB spot. We'll likely take Strange later if we can. We already have Brian Thomas. Gets to play into Tony Pollard, 17 as well. I'm pretty sure that's the matchup, right? No, they play New Orleans. Hand up. But we can work into Indy later off that. But yeah, hope it's a happy Friday. Hope your drafts tonight go well. We'll close this out with Jalen Naylor and likely be on the road. Got to figure out what the hell happened with the music today. Not sure what the hell was going on, but we'll find an answer at some point. I should to see where Freiermuth just went. 198. Okay, bold. 4 tight ends? 4 tight ends and you don't have any... Bro, what is this guy's team? We gotta find bro. What is going on here? Burrow, May, Darnold, Gibbs, Jacobs, Kyron, Jordan Mason, Flowers, Addison, Golden, Williams, Leggett, Keenan Allen. This is interesting. This might be a one-of-one lineup, so props to him. I think he's going to be fairly behind the 8 ball at wide receiver, though, to be quite honest. I don't see the I don't see the vision there. But, I mean, who knows? He might smack me. Watch him advance and not me. So, let's be real about that. While we wait for these final 2 picks, we'll start doing the review of the draft. Start off with CeeDee Lamb. I have a fair number of Saquon bags, and to be quite honest, the data on running backs reaching the kind of volume that Saquon did last year is not good for their status the next year. Not even just from like an injury perspective, from a points per game perspective, like hitting that super high volume of touches decreases their points per game. Like, so even when they do play, they're not playing as well as they did the previous season. Followed that up with Ladd. I like Ladd a fair bit. Dallas does play them 16. And Houston, again, is a team that you can work some later round picks into, which is fairly nice. But nothing too crazy there. Just they have a matchup in playoffs and is a player that I like. McLaurin, because after taking Lamb over Saquon, you're kind of like, hey, I really want to play into Dallas, Washington. Might as well start off by getting Washington's best receiver. Followed that up with Pickens, the Dallas double, knowing that, hey, we want to get Dak later. News alert, it did not happen, unfortunately. Make that 3 days in a row that my double doesn't get there. Devonta Smith, though, Philly does play Washington 16. And is there another matchup? Let me double check this real quick. There isn't, if we had gotten like Ray Davis or something, but either way, Devonta Smith, for the same reasons that like Saquon I'm a little worried about, their offense should move at least a little bit more towards pass friendly, not just full run the ball down your throat. Not to say that that's going away completely, but I do think there will be some positive regression passing-wise in the Philly offense, so Devonta's a player that I'm fine to get some exposure to and be really set at wide receiver this early. David Montgomery, at his current ADP, I think is a fairly good pick. I mean, he's a great player. I don't think a new offensive coordinator is going to be the death of David Montgomery, but it's not. It is a possibility, which is why you get the discount on him. When you have no running backs, though, I'm more than happy to take him there. Would have been happy with any of these running backs at the next follow-up. Didn't get him. Went with Laporta because Detroit does play. I guess there wasn't. It was just that Minnesota plays Dallas, so it was already a game that we might be interested in, and taking Detroit means we have 2 games for Minnesota to hopefully take someone like Jordan Mason or Aaron Jones later. Unfortunately, it did not happen. Comes with the territory sometimes, but by then taking Judkins here, we set up fairly well for some Steelers stacks since Pitt plays Detroit and then Cleveland 16 and 17. Admittedly, I'm the risk taker here. But if Judkins doesn't get suspended until next season, like, this is going to be the biggest smash of value that you can get. Jalen Warren just said we're already playing into Pitt, and solid depth running back piece. Goff, since we literally by a hair miss out on Dak, I'd already known that we wanted to get 2 quarterbacks likely here at the back-to-back given how we were set up. Does give us some value here having 2 Detroit players. Admittedly, Montgomery not super in the pass game, but still, we're playing into Detroit somewhat. Herbert, just because we're playing into Ladd. Thought we might be able to get QJ later. Didn't end up happening, but Herbert's a fine pick. Eckler to play into the Dallas game week 17. Jadon Blue just to finish up running back, play more into Dallas. Pitts, because he fell at ADP and he's a high ceiling tight end after already taking a pretty solid tight end in Laporta. We get Pitts, get some more ceiling at our position. Wandell does play into Washington 15. If we had more Minnesota 16, would have been really nice. Unfortunately, we don't. Rodgers just to get a third quarterback. Those other 2 quarterbacks, while I like them a lot, admittedly may have some ceiling caps. Adding a third quarterback in the mix just raises your total overall ceiling at the position, but is not a move I like to do too much in BBM. Finish it up, get a little bit more for Rodgers, and then just the only Minnesota bring back that we can get for that 3-week stretch. And that's it for the draft. Be back tomorrow. Hope you all have a great weekend. See you there. Have a great time. Peace.